Yay, it's working.
Hello, Drupal Twig.
Hello.
And there were people, and that was good.
So yeah, as long as Lewis, as long as you're okay with being Drupal Twig, then this works.
I think it's cool because a concept has become a real live person.
Yeah.
It's like an AI come to life, and it's Lewis.
Aww. I love all those people.
Drupal Twig people.
Alright, I'm getting dizzy now.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I heard you, Emma. You were saying like
Kittens.
and going aw.
When kittens attack.
Alright, for those who don't have a link to the document, using it in the chat.
We've noticing that I did purely kind of political, but
Kathy, do you remember which one I need help with from this class?
It was. That's why I tweeted the picture.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I put a link to the picture in the.
Add it to
Yeah,
my list.
I can't see from the picture what the issue is. Yeah, Emma, I think I could hear you, but now I can't. I'm pretty sure, maybe, or I don't know, maybe that was someone else. Oh, yeah, it probably was Kathy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the slightly different format we have now, we have this link to the Google Doc, and if everyone could fill out the issues that are going well for them and the issues they need help on, and then we'll go around and everyone can just talk about any issues that they need to bring up and talk about in person. So Emma's disappeared, so I'm next on the list. So I'll start with my stuff. So a few of the usability issues that we raised after the Minneapolis study are going pretty well. Some of them are RTBC. You can look at them if you want. There's no point going into each of them individually. And then another one that was good was the component issue, which removed like maybe 40 CSS and errors. So now we have less than 400, which is pretty cool. We're getting down. And so then it's about half the amount of errors that we had when we started actually tracking how many we had. So the issues that I need someone to have a look at is the move the file.theme.css to classy, because we David and I were talking about how we structure the CSS in classy in a way that's consistent with Bartik instead of the way we do it in templates. So it'd be good to have a few more opinions there. And they found having this one has a completely different direction now, so it'd be cool if someone could take a look, maybe patch that. And the other issue I just made today is the main CSS that removes the UL from the selector, which is really cool because that causes loads of problems overriding other people's CSS all the time. So it'd be good if someone could have a review of that as well.
whenever you do, let me know.
Right.
Any questions?
So a unit test, you could use to like.
Joelle, can you mute yourself? Because there's a lot of background noise.
Right.
Maybe.
Right? But I'm
Thanks, Emma. Okay, we skipped you initially because you weren't here, but if you want to go now, you can.
Yeah, I think I've got the document open. Okay, so my things are the issue. Where was? I thought I wrote the issue description. Come on, internet. I don't know what's going on in this building. So the content component issue that I said last week was a mess. Fixed itself or somehow, and now it's committed. That's really cool, and that was the CSS lint thing that I think Lewis mentioned probably. And then the second thing, it's going well, is I also mentioned last week that there's like 6 or 7 issues open for Bartik to do with link styling, and I made a big like parent kind of mother issue and to take care of them, and it's going really well also. And then stuff I'm stuck with is the branding block issue that is stuck because it needs an upgrade path, and it does a lot of things for Bartik and core and stuff, and we really need someone to work on it. And I know Larry's on holiday and he was gonna do it, so like we need somebody because it's so almost there. It's like 98%. And then the next thing is I'm gonna have to sit down, or someone wants to do it, and overhaul the Bartik font sizes because they've been causing loads of problems with refactoring classy and things and core, and it will make Morton very happy if it's done. And then the last thing is, can someone review some PHP I did in a Bartik issue? The last one. I will post the URL in the Hangout. Yeah, this is really quick, and someone could do it really quickly. And that's all I have. And it's really weird because you're all muted and it's really quiet. I'm gonna do the same.
Oh.
Okay,
Emma, I'll post. It looks
next.
reasonable, but I'll post some like nitpicks for you.
Nice. So next up is David, I think.
Morton just pinged me that he's not going to be able to make it. He apparently has no internet. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. It was like eerily quiet, yes. So let's see. We're working on safe markup stuff. That's actually getting pretty far along. We were working on the views field escaping issue. That's one thing I want to concentrate on for the next week or so. Because if we get that done, then we can actually work on getting the views fields template actually converted and working. And that looks close. So my other to-dos are still the JS prefix issues. There's 2 left. The header and footer views issue, I created an issue for that, something that's acting funny, and I think I fixed it. If anybody wants to review that, that'd be cool. It's a simple fix. The sorting arrow issue is one that's been around for a while, and I was working on it with someone at GovCon, and I think where we left off, it was working okay, but it turned out that we're actually going to need new SVG images for arrows in Bartek. So if somebody wants to do that, that'd be cool. And then I have libraries override on my list, which is always going to be on my list until it actually gets done. Which at this point, until someone...
Is that because the color's different for Bartik?
Yes, the headers seem to match the arrow color. So I think Bartik needs to have its own arrows, unless we change the arrow color to be something different, but I don't know if we're going to do that just for Bartek.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it should be quite easy to add different colors in. I can do that.
And that's all I have. That's not in safe markup land. Safe markup nightmare land.
How's the safe markup stuff going?
Slowly.
Yeah, everybody seems to be sprinting on it, but we're down to, I think, what is it, like 15 issues left or something?
Yeah. Well, the only ones on the board that we have on the board are kind of ones we're working on, but there's a few more that are kind of outlying. And I think Alex Pott makes a new one every hour or so. So it's not,
yeah, I saw
not
that,
specifically. Yeah, not
I saw that
specific.
meta that he made to remove all the safe markup methods.
Yeah, he's got a vendetta against it, which is not a bad thing. But we also have like a whole bunch of new things that he's coming up with, which is kind of interesting. And one of them, the big one that I'm kind of happy about, is actually getting rid of check plain. So essentially, check plain, the function, the function that was in Drupal 7 and safe markup check plain in Drupal 8 essentially goes away. He just essentially renamed it, but it's also not going to be tracking that those things are safe anymore, and letting Twig escape things. So don't check plain early, which is what was the plan all along. It's just that somebody had to do it. But he's made a patch and it's 500K. So anybody want to review something? Manual testing. 500K patch. Half a meg. I only have 2 things on here. One of them is the view list builder, and he's got to help me what the hell's up with my suggestion foo. And the other one is the one that I was working on with David, which is the views fields escaping, and then which leads off to one safe markup one and one theme function removal, which is the fields. View fields template and theme function. So if we can get the escaping one out of the way, which Alex sent back as needs work for a few little things, then we can get that one out of the way, and then we can go back to looking at getting rid of that theme function, which would be awesome. Sava? That's it.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Mark, how about you?
Heyo. I was just working on the last stuff for the field markup patch. So Chad had wanted us to look at removing some of the logic, and so I did, and it broke things. And so then he found something upstream, and so I just need to put up a patch to put our old thing that worked back in with a to-do notice, and I'll have that up in a little bit after this call. And then I think somebody just needs to review it and mark it RTBC, and then we'll see if we get pushback, which I will bet we will, but we'll see. I will bet we'll have to go through the whole, but this is more complicated now thing, but I think we're close, hopefully. The other thing that we need is the page, the local tasks and actions into blocks issue needs some help. Yeah, we got a review on it that has a number of things, some of which I don't feel qualified to fix. So hopefully somebody else does, and and then after that we only have one block conversion left. If the branding block thing gets actually used and that gets in, then we just have the title block left. And it last had work a few weeks ago, or gosh, no, that was probably like a month and a half ago. Where did the summer go? I want to file a protest on that. Anyways, That's the last one. It's titles. So there's some inherent complexity in that, but it would be really nice because then there'd be no page variables that we're having in the page template. It would all be blocks, and that'd be really nice. But we have to revive it because we're like at what, the 11th hour right now.
Yeah, it'd be really good if we could do it, but we don't have a lot of time.
One thing I wondered about is I saw the system theme breakup went in, right? So are there parts of that need to move to Classy then?
Yes, all of it. Well, all of the .theme files.
Is that
actually,
we didn't make an issue for it yet.
okay.
I've only made. I think there was already a method to remove all the module.theme CSS files, and I've created the first issue to move like maybe the first 3. Just trying to find a good way to split it up. But if we're now deciding what the border structure should be for CSS and Classy.
Wait, the first 3
so,
of the system files?
Yeah. So it was like action links, buttons, and breadcrumb.
We can't just move all of them in one patch?
Oh yeah, sure we can, but we can't test that.
Well, because we're
We
only
can test it,
moving
but
we're only moving the .theme ones.
yeah.
So-
But that affects every single page ever, everywhere.
Right.
So it becomes really
should
hard
only-
to test for regressions.
Mm-hmm.
But those files should only contain the components with visual styles in them. So we may have regressions, but those should there should basically be regressions that we should be okay with.
In theory, yeah, it should be stuff where it's like, well, it looks, less styled in Stark, so that's fine, and it should look the same in Classy, but we have to prove it. Like, we have to prove that the order hasn't changed, that it's not something that's overriding it, that wasn't overriding it before. And yeah, it's a big pain. So that's why we kind of have to break it up and design it's manageable. Like, we can prove that breadcrumbs and action links aren't being changed quite easily. Doing it for everything, I have no idea how we could do that in one issue.
Yeah. Where did you make those issues?
Let me find the meta, one moment.
So it is off the main meta?
Yeah, so the meta to move module.theme.css files to Classy, I'll paste it in the chat. And I'll also put it in my name in the Google Doc.
Okay, I see it now.
Oh yeah.
So, what about JS moving to Classy? Is there a meta for that? Has that already been done? Are there things left for that?
I think the policy is that a lot of JavaScript is functional stuff, so it would stay in Stark.
That makes sense.
That might not be the case everywhere, but
yeah,
that's the general rule right now.
So what child issues did you make for? Oh, there I see.
Yeah, so I think we might have quite a few more issues to make. If someone wants to about making issues for some modules, or like just finding a split up the CSS in the system module, so we can do it realistically in separate issues, then that'd be cool.
Another thing I had a question about was, did I see that the last theme function conversion went in?
No.
Or there's still a couple. There's
There's
still
like
a couple
8 left,
postponed
I think.
ones.
Yeah, we have 8 left.
Okay.
So we're in single digits now. So, go team. Thank you, Joel.
That was awesome. Need more of those. We can actually we can do the views one. I think we just have to get through that escape thing, and we can get the views one sorted. And then those type table conversions. I tried one of them the other day, and it was like, oh, it's a table that's creating a table in the theme function. That's great. So it's a type table creating a type table, and we're trying to convert it to a type table. Oh, God.
Yeah, those can rot.
Thanks. It's like a field UI one, the field UI table or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gross. Looks like it's working, but it's not. But
So,
yeah, we can get some of them done.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So I don't have too much to say. Like, yeah, that authorized.php nightmare is finally over.
Yes.
I'm going to look at, hopefully later today, because I've kind of have some permission to work on stuff this week at work. I just have to make sure all my deadlines and stuff still happen. But anyway, so hopefully I'll look at that safe markup one today.
Sweet.
And then, yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know if this was covered recently, but like I just kind of want to bump that libraries override issue, because I think that could really, if we have that, then I think all the stuff like the moving the .theme.css stuff to classy would be like really easy once we have that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if anyone is interested in working on that, it hasn't been updated in almost a month, so I think someone could grab that and jump on it if they have time.
Yeah,
Because I think
it's at the point where like somebody with the right brain power has to work on it.
Yeah, like it's.
I did ping Wim about it.
Okay.
He said he was busy, but quote, if I don't at it later this week, ping me again. It seems to indicate that he would look at it.
Yeah, like
but,
it's.
He's got a lot of stuff on his plate.
I really want to create a tag that needs Wim Lears. Like that would.
Yeah, needs Wim power.
There's a lot of issues I could apply needs Wim Lears to.
Yeah.
That's called Project Drupal Core.
I thought that was already created. It's called cache or something. Cache. For performance, actually, but just performance in general. If it has performance on it, Wim's on it. Don't worry. Just put performance on that.
Even if
If we can promote in some way.
Like
If we can make the issue somehow improve it. I'm sure we can find a way to make it improve performance somehow.
They're safe. We'll do the safe markup. I would like to work on that one too, but I have to get through the safe markup stuff. So that's all I'm going to be doing. So.
Yeah, focus.
FYI.
And
So,
I don't know, like there's also who was it that created the issue? Was it Lewis maybe, about being able to change stuff in core after 8.0.0?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just going to mention that one.
Okay, good.
The policy one, yeah. I lost it a second ago. Yeah, I want to talk about that one because that would buy us way more time than we have right now.
Well, because
buy us all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like if we can do that, then this libraries override thing could be added after and stuff like that. Well, it still could be added after, but it would be like it would have a lot of usage.
Yeah, we can actually use
if
it.
we can get that in.
Yes, I'm not sure. I guess this issue just needs more opinions, a little bit more discussion before we can actually propose it.
Has anyone tweeted this, or should we post it on GDO Core or something, or how should we get people's opinions?
I mean, I think we need committer opinions on it.
Yeah, right.
There's a tag for that.
Hey Joel, are there any committers there you can mention this to?
Not at the well, maybe XJam's here, but she probably doesn't care too much about this kind of issue.
Right.
Because I talked to her about like even template stuff yesterday, and she didn't really. It's just not for her to commit. She doesn't. She said there was other people that are better off committing those type of issues. That she leaves it up to them. So, yeah, no.
I don't know if this is a framework manager issue or a product manager issue.
I'd bet it's a
framework.
I'd bet it's a product manager thing. Don't you think?
Because then that's a website
maybe.
issue.
Yeah, it could
Or
be.
maybe it's both.
I mean, the issue is that I would like there to, in theory, yes, I want there to be changes, but what happened, there's no way you can do an upgrade path for these changes, right? So
No, you're going to break stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people's sites are going to break. If they have an actual site and they're depending on this, their websites will break. There's not really a way around that. So,
well, the way around it is to use Classy.
Yeah, I think the opinion was if we had a policy where Classy is supported, but the core CSS is basically considered unsupported. Like, stuff could be changed there, so you should pay attention to what happens.
Yeah, it's tricky because I think you would somehow have to communicate to everyone that if you don't use Classy, it won't be supported until whatever, 8.1 or something. But the fact that you can get to that just by creating your own theme is kind of maybe problematic because, people who don't know anything about Classy, don't know anything about how things have changed, will be like, oh, I'm just going to go create a new theme and build it and put it live, and yeah.
Upgrade comes along, breaks their site.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think maybe we do need to shout about it a little bit more, like try and get a lot of actual themers who aren't involved in core to say, yes, this is a risk. This is risky, but the benefits could.
All right, who has access to the
outweigh
Drupal
the
Twig
risks.
Twitter account?
So the only, I'm thinking through this in my head, the only way I could think is if you created another theme that was called like 8BC or something like that, and that's where you put any backwards compatibility things, and you said, hey, if you want, to absolutely depend on everything staying the same, you can base your theme off of that, and it's just system plus any backwards compatibility changes we need to put in. If you want to live on the edge, then go off of system, and that feels really dumb, but that's the only way I can think of that you could actually do that.
But I think you'd still have the same problem of people not necessarily knowing that they should do that.
Well, yeah. Yep.
I mean, because the backwards compatibility theme is Classy.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? And
yeah,
the problem is that we're expecting people to know to add a dependency on Classy to have this kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's like we need to make it so that if they want to live on the edge, they need to do something specific. So it's almost like we would need to almost create another Classy that is all the good magical stuff that we want, and then core itself is BC. But I don't know, that doesn't seem very practical either.
What if we just made it so the default base theme is Classy? So if you don't specify a base theme, it's Classy.
That's an interesting one.
So you'd have to specify base theme like false or something if you didn't want it?
You'd have to say, I guess stock, you'd just say base theme stock.
Or like core or something, like we'd have like a special value in there where it's just like, okay, if the base theme is core or system or whatever we want to call it, then it will just be no base theme. Otherwise, default base theme is Classy. That could work.
There's got to be a nice usable way to do it. Like I remember having this discussion when we discussed the whole banana thing at the time, and we had this decision to make about having, a Classy core and then like a bleach theme that strips stuff out, or a small a small markup core, and then having the classy thing that adds to it. And we decided to go with, stripping down core and then adding stuff.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense from a developer point of view, but from a user point of view, maybe it doesn't make much sense. Like they have to opt in to nice markup and nice defaults and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that does sound pretty sensible to make classy the default.
Because it's kind of like the default being hard mode at the moment.
Yeah. I guess if there's a way to do it that's not super complicated, but it seems like a hard thing to get in at this point.
Well, I guess we need to think
Well, it's really
about...
just the parsing of the info file, right?
I guess what we need to think about is that if there's people out there with themes that are based off of core, we would need to figure out how it may be too late from that perspective because they would need to change their info file.
Yeah, I mean the thing is
they've already got a live site.
We'd need an upgrade path for this because it's changing everybody's markup if they, because it's changing what the default is. So you'd need an upgrade path, and I don't know how you do that at this point.
I don't know that we need an upgrade path.
Well, it would just be for the people using the core markup, unless we're saying whatever, that's fine.
We just need a change record.
Yeah.
It just says if you weren't using classy before, you need to add this line in your info file. I mean, it's no different than changing like something in the settings file or services or something.
I think
but he's on beta now. You just have to change your setting.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think we would have to run it by a committer or framework manager or whatever. But probably, as long as we could get that in before RC, then it probably is fair game.
I still don't know. This may be a good thing to do. I still don't know that it changes anything about whether we can change markup after, or CSS or anything front end.
No, it's more of an answer to, okay, but what about this group of people? What about this group of people?
Yeah, the answer is then, well, we're setting a policy that if you're using core, it's considered potentially like you're on your own in a way.
Yeah.
And I guess the way to put it is like you don't want to rely on anything helping you.
And would we also want to say, okay, it's once we hit some milestone, 8.1 or 8.2 or something, then it is like it is stable, so to speak?
I would say maybe more have a policy that we could still potentially make CSS changes, but they would only be in those point releases, right? And we'd have to have clear release notes and change records for the CSS that we change so that people know.
Okay.
Yeah. It makes me a little bit nervous because I think for a lot of sites I'd prefer to work off of core than off of classy, so I can add stuff in rather than take stuff out. And if that's basically an unstable way to build sites, that's kind of a bummer. I don't know. I want to get everything done.
I mean, unstable in the sense that you'd have to pay attention to the release notes.
Yeah.
Do we need to be more specific about what we mean by not supporting it? Like, I guess it doesn't mean like we're going to start actually changing this as properties. Just removing markup all over the place. We're just moving the markup from core to class. The markup is the big deal, I guess.
Yeah, I guess now I'm kind of thinking like if we get some of these tools, like if we get the libraries override and libraries extend and stuff, I kind of hate to say it, but we could build a really nice theme in contrib. If we're not able to kind of break things like this past release or past RC, then we would have all the tools we need to actually do it in Contrib. I know we would still be having to take stuff away, but it would be doable.
Yeah.
But I mean, the markup is pretty solid right now. I don't know that we'd make a lot of markup changes. I think it's mostly the CSS changes.
Yeah.
I think field markup and the views markup are the last ones that really are things we want to change, right?
So the views one is done. It's really just field.
Yeah. Which
is a beast.
And then everything else that we want, what we really need the policy change for is all this stuff we're trying to do with moving the CSS files from core into classy. Like if we don't get that stuff done, we're kind of stuck with leaving those files where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I said, you could still do it in Contrib, but you don't have that. You would need to use that sort of, even if it's just a base theme. Well, if we're just talking about removing CSS, like it could even be like a page on D.O that's like, here, paste this into your info YAML file, and it'll remove all the CSS. I don't know.
I mean, I guess one thing to think about is that the stuff that we're moving over is the theme.css stuff, which in theory shouldn't even work in Classy, right? Like none of that should do anything basically, because the markup isn't there to support it. So So I think maybe having a policy that you can't rely upon the CSS in core. I'd maybe say set a limit on it, like until 8.1. You know. Then that might be good.
I guess alternatively, just see if we can get sort of a grace period during RC where we can still do that transition, and then freeze it at 8.0. I don't know.
Yeah.
They would not do that.
What's that?
They would not do that.
Okay.
Because they're only going to commit criticals. So.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I always forget about that.
So documentation.
So that's no-go.
I think the answer is let's just really get all that stuff moved over in the next couple weeks. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, all that. We can just do that. But I think this stuff ends up being a little bit more tricky than we thought it would be.
Yeah, I think that libraries override, if we can really put some power behind that and just kind of focus on getting that in, then the rest will be pretty simple. I think the only thing is that those CSS moving ones, they do need manual testing and screenshots and stuff, right? So that can be, but I don't know.
That's the one area where my opinion is just screw it and do it. We have
there should be nothing that changes. There should be nothing that breaks. There really shouldn't.
Could. Because misapplied CSS on stuff that's in Start, but I'm I don't care.
Well, it's more I think the manual testing is more making sure. Yeah, I think it's making sure that it's still showing up in Classy, is the main thing, because I think we've had patches where it's this should work, but
Right. Yeah. If Classy's broken, that's the issue. I don't care. I don't care if there's a regression in Start because the
making
file
sure that we're not. Yeah. It's just making sure we're not breaking Classy Bartik 7.
Yeah, which could happen if the loading order changes, which it has changed quite a lot in some of the.
That too, yes. Yes, very good point. I forgot about that. That is an issue.
On an entirely separate note, one thing to put on the radar is that there was a new issue filed. I don't know if new, but Mark Carver did a blog post and issue about adding bootstrapped core in a point release for 8. So, I don't know. I can see if I can try to find the issue for it.
But before we move on to that, I just made some bullet points of stuff we just discussed, which is, do we make Classy the default base theme? ? Do we set a limit on a point release where we freeze markup and CSS? And do we only support CSS? Is that okay for now? I'm going to just post it in the issue to say that we covered these.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, and then we can continue discussing these points in the issue, I think.
Cool.
I like the idea of just not supporting the CSS. That's actually a lot less problematic than the markup as well, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I have to jump off. I've got a client call to make, so ciao. See you guys.
Okay. See ya.
Mark, do you have that issue?
Yeah, just a second here. I'm looking for it. There we go. Although I don't think that's the new one.
I thought he wrote an article.
He did on Drupal Watchdog.
No, but he made a new
Yeah,
issue.
he posted it. He
Yeah.
posted that in this issue.
Yeah.
I really don't. I
Yeah.
never see the point in doing these things. Like, isn't it a greater benefit to Bootstrap to have it be in Contrib? Like, why would you want it in Core?
I think like part of the argument is that we don't have to maintain loads of CSS to core anymore. But we're adding a lot of CSS.
I think the thing I was thinking about posting in there was that, I guess how does it work in terms of things that get into core that are front end related tend to get locked down. And so if there's a Bootstrap theme in core, then how does that work as Bootstrap gets updated outside of Drupal? You know, is that something then that gets updated in Drupal every time that Bootstrap is updated? How does that work?
Yeah, I think it would probably be treated the same way as all the other vendor assets, right?
Okay, so it could be updated then.
I guess it would have to follow the semantic versioning though, right? Be mirrored. So if when Bootstrap 4 comes out and that would break stuff, we'd have to wait until Drupal 9 to bring in Bootstrap 4.
Yes.
Probably.
But again, I mean, it just sounds like something that if all we're going to do is have the vendor version of Bootstrap, why does that have to be in core?
I don't know. I just wanted to put it on people's radar. So.
I think part of the argument was that it would we'd inject a ton of component-based CSS straight into core instead of having to deal with the stuff we have already and trying to make that component-based.
Well, I think the real idea is to actually remove most of that.
Yeah, to remove the stuff we have and then replace it with the Bootstrap components.
I guess the issue I have is that I don't work with Bootstrap on a regular basis, but when I have looked at it, it looks more pattern-based than component-based, rather than here's a thing on the page and here are the styles that are for it. It's here is a class that you can apply to get a certain class, get a certain appearance. And by applying this set of classes, then you get this appearance, which really isn't a component. It's a pattern-based thing, which is sort of the opposite of the direction that we've been heading. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean.
I mean, like most people I know that use it are not really using it in the sort of like high level that it's intended. They're using it for like, I just need some default thing to like make a layout and some grids for my site and stuff like that instead of doing it myself. And I don't think it's something we need.
So, anyways, we have a lot of other things on the plate. I just wanted to make sure that people saw that. So.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool.
Okay, does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about?
Nope.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. Next week, if I'm hosting it again, I promise I'll figure this stuff out beforehand.
It all worked wonderfully. Thank you. Thank you, Drupal Twig.
No problem.
Goodbye.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Have a good day,
Have a good
everybody.
day.
Bye.
Bye.